We're back. Revelation 6. Things are about to get real bad. Six seals. We got to do 6, and then the 7th one is the start of the bowl. The bowls? Trumpets in the bowls. Oh, yeah, the bowls are real bad. That's right. The bowls are real bad. You don't want to be around for the bowls. All right. Let's jump into this. And I implore you, go watch the Hanging Out with Uncle Charlie, right? The podcast for this, where we're going to dive into this a little more, because I think there's something here. I'm going to mention it here, but I'm going to explain it over there. John can only see one thing at a time. He's bound to human physics. He can only see one thing at a time, and he can only write in chronological order. To a certain extent. You can say at the same time, but John can only see one thing at a time. It is possible that he is seeing things in an instant that are elapsing over eons, spans of time. I'm just throwing that out there as just a little seed. We'll see where it goes, but I'm throwing it out there, and I'll explain more of what I'm talking about in the Hanging Out. So go over to that channel, subscribe over there, do all that, whatever stuff you got to follow. It's Spotify, YouTube. And anyway, let's jump into it. Revelation 6, the first seal. Then I saw when the Lamb broke one of the 7 seals, and I heard one of the 4 living creatures saying, as with a voice of thunder, "Come and look, come." And I looked, and behold, a white horse, and he who sat on it had a bow, and a crown was given to him, and he went out conquering and to conquer. When he broke the 2nd seal, I heard the 2nd of the 4 living creatures say, "Come." And another, a red horse, went out, and to him who sat on it, it was granted to take peace from the earth, and that men would slay one another, and a great sword was given to him. When he broke the 3rd seal, I saw the 3rd living creature, saying, "Come." And I looked, and behold, on a black horse, and he who sat on it had a pair of scales in his hand. And I heard something like a voice in the center of the 4 living creatures saying, "A quart of wheat for a denarius, and 3 quarts of barley for a denarius, and do not damage the oil and the wine." When the Lamb broke the 4th seal, I heard a voice of the 4th living creature saying, "Come." And I looked, and behold, and an ashen horse, and he who sat on it had the name Death, and Hades was following him. Authority was given to them, over a 1/4 of the earth, to kill with the sword, and with famine, and with pestilence, and by the wild beasts. When the Lamb broke the 5th seal, I saw underneath the altar the souls of those who had been slain because of the word of God, and because of the testimony which they had maintained. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, "How long, O Lord, holy and true, will you refrain from judging and avenging our blood on those who dwell on earth?" And there was given to each of them, a white robe. And they were told that they should rest for a little while longer, until the number of their fellow servants and their brethren who were to be killed, even as they had been, would be completed also. That's terrible. I looked when he broke the 6th seal, and there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth made of hair, and the whole moon became like blood, and the stars of the sky fell to the earth, as figs cast its unripe figs. as a fig tree casts its unripe figs when shaken by a great wind. The sky was split apart, and a scroll, when it is rolled up, the sky was split apart like a scroll when it is rolled up, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. Then the kings of the earth and the great men and the commanders and the rich and the strong and every slave and free man hid themselves in caves and among rocks of the mountains. And they said to the mountains and the rocks, "Fall on us and hide us from the presence of him who sits on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the day of their wrath has come, and who is able to stand?" Whoa. That's a holy moly. So, I said what I said in the beginning about John maybe seeing huge swaths of time elapsed. And it's not all an event in the future, right? When a lot of people read Revelation, they're reading it with like all of this is going to happen during the Great Tribulation. I'm going to be raptured before any of this happens, and I'm not going to see it. I don't think so. I'm going to explain why. Every single one of these things happens over a course of great time. Every one of them. Let's go through them real quick. Conquering and to conquer. That takes time. A great sword was given to him. And it was granted to take peace from the earth, and that men would slay one another, and a great sword was given to him. That takes time. That's time. A lot of time. A quart of wheat for denarius, and 3 quarts of barley for denarius. That's massive inflation. That takes time. Death and Hades were following him. Authority was to over a fourth of the earth to kill with the sword and with famine and with pestilence and by wild beasts of the earth. If it was any one thing, you'd go, okay, there's going to be a massive, near extinction event kind of deal. A fourth of the earth, a quarter of the population. We're talking like 2 billion people die. Maybe, but perhaps he's seeing elapsed over a longer period of time, a quarter of the earth's population dying. Maybe over a few hundred years or over 1,000 years, right? Perhaps. I'm just throwing it out there because he gives so many different instances. So maybe over a span of maybe 200, maybe 500 years or something, a quarter of the earth's population dies from war, famine, pestilence, and just wild beasts, apparently, right? And that could be, mosquitoes with malaria that killed a ton of people, World War I, World War II, Vietnam, you know what I mean? Like all these wars that had massive casualties. There's tons of other ones. What was the guy in Africa that killed like so many people? What's his name? Can't remember. Let's go to the next one because I want to drill this home. Saints, this is how long we're waiting. The number of them who have still yet to be martyred hasn't been reached. Time. There's a number of martyrs. There is a number. It seems by this that is a fixed number. God is waiting for a certain number of people to be martyred. There is allotted. These folks are going to actually be put to death for their faith. When those folks have died and have been martyred, you understand? Time. This didn't even happen. This is the only one that doesn't take place over necessarily There's still time that elapses over this one. But the sixth seal, which I think is important, it is the turning event. It's the last one. The next seal is the first trumpet. Right? So this, every mountain, what does it say? Every mountain and island are moved out of their place. That hasn't happened yet. That hasn't happened yet. Now, the rich, the rulers, the oligarch class, we all know they've got bunkers, they've got safe houses, they've got all sorts of things that they are moving. They're making cities underground. They got a whole colony. They got all kinds of stuff that they're building underground, underwater, trying to get back into space again. All of that is happening now, 2025, 26, 24. It's happening now. It's only going to be ramping up because this is inevitable. There is going to be, it's the only one that hasn't happened yet that's not happening over a span of time. We're seeing these other things happen over a span of time, and then there's an event, and that kicks off the next set of things. So I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not saying that this is 100% right. I'm saying this is, if we're just reading it through, this is plain. Everything is happening over time except this one. It is possible that this one too, but he says a great earthquake, not great earthquakes. And if it said earthquakes, then again, we're looking at maybe he's seeing all of these things are happening and then a thing, you know what I mean? So again, we'll go over this in a lot more detail in the hanging out and kind of explain kind of how maybe he's seeing time kind of like a really loosey-goosey view of time. Things are kind of like stacked on top of each other. You're seeing time kind of collapsed because you can only see one thing at a time. So he's maybe seeing hyperlapses of things. And those are indications of like all of these things are leading up to the end. But at no point in this is there any indication that we're not here for it. As a matter of fact, we're here for it. There's martyrs. So I will point that out. That authority is given to these spirits, these entities, and they are, just like we saw in Daniel, let's not forget that there is an angel warring with the prince of Persia. Right? There was an angel battling him. There was spiritual forces at work. Same here. The spiritual forces at work. There's authority given to these entities, and they're able to enact things on earth. And these are, I would say, low likelihood of being singular events. They're at work for a while. They have a period of time that they're going over, and then they're done. Okay, I'm throwing it out there. Think about it. Let's see how it jives with the rest of everything. That's about it for this one. The next, we'll see what happens next. Let's not jump too far ahead. Please check out Hanging Out with Uncle Charlie. It's important that we flush a little bit of this out and explain some things and postulate some different ideas. So that way we can have a balanced view of this and not be super kooky about it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Read your Bible.